All right, so a little earlier, before we got ready to come on air, my brother David Pendergrass, we were talking about cutting hair. I suggested, just mildly in passing, I suggested that he should let me cut it, give him a trim up, maybe on the show. I thought maybe I could do one of the little Oprah shows, one little before and after type joints, right? That's what I was thinking. So I suggested me to cut his hair. He then responded, but you got to be able to cut. You can't to touch my head. And I was like, really? I really had to restrain myself because the Bible says that you should not boast about yourself. Let somebody else talk about you. Let somebody else give a good report about you. Let somebody else talk about your good skill, name, whatever that is. But it's kind of hard right now because he don't know how good I cut hair. He really don't know. Like he really need to check the resume. Now I can tell some jokes. I can write some jokes. But when it comes to cut some hair, talking about LeBron level. I'm sick with these clippers. Son, I'm sick with it. I'm boasting. Okay, help me, Lord. I should be boasting. Okay, God, guess what? God gave me these skills in these clippers. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. God gave me these. Corinthians, baby. God gave me these skills with these clippers. So I'm not boasting in me. I'm bragging in him. He gave them to me naturally. I ain't even asked for them. I just found I could do it one day. Yeah. So any of you barbers out there, you think you got something for Akintunde? Come on, get some. Local barbers, national barbers. Yeah, I'm calling y'all out. Come get some of these clippers. Tell you what. In the meantime, between time to get this show started, family. Independent artists today. That's what we're talking about. Not necessarily barbers, but barbers you can listen to. It'd be good for you too. And then you come get some on these clippers. It's the Akintunde Show, aka the Grown Man Podcast. Matter of fact, tag your barber. Tag your barber and tell him to watch the show. Text your barber. I know you got his cell number. Go by the shop. Tell him he need to watch the Akintunde Show. Akintunde calling out all the barbers. We got a whole bunch of other stuff today. This is the Grown Man Podcast, aka the Akintunde Show, broadcasting live on the Freethinkers Radio Network. I'm gonna pretend like I'm cutting hair while we go and get the show started. Ak Show.
Hi, I'm Dave, and I'm a social media hater. I suffer with extreme low self-esteem, and I do not like myself. Therefore, I spend my days and nights stalking and lurking your Facebook page, reading your posts, viewing your pictures, yet being sure not to like them. I loathe myself. I love sharing negative news about celebrities, preachers, athletes, and everyday people. I never have anything positive to say online, and if my post even looks remotely positive, there's a hidden negative agenda. I am a hater. I'm Dave, and I am a social media hater. Are you a hater? Well, if so, be sure not to like this post nor share it with your friends.
Happy Thursday, family. This is the Grown Man Podcast, aka the Akintunde Show, or the Akintunde Show, aka the Grown Man Podcast. Either way, we're broadcasting on the Freethinkers Radio Network, family. And let me tell you something. Please, let somebody know that we're on right now. Like, tag, and share this post. Let folks know that we're on. We're talking about being an independent artist today. the ups and downs, the successes and failures, and all the challenges today of being an independent artist. My guests are Uncle G, aka Greg Lyons. He is a manager, he is a label owner, he is a record promoter, and he is the former label manager for Master P's No Limit Records back in the day, back in the heyday when it was successful. Back in no, it's not successful now. I don't know if No Limit is still in action, but Uncle G was one of the key people back in the day. He's going to be talking to us and sharing some of his tips and his experience, particularly on the gospel side, the Christian side, since he's been over on this side like myself. He came from secular and came over to gospel. Then in addition to that, speaking of gospel, praise and worship leader, minister, artist, Mr. Sean Bigby. Minister Sean Bigby will be my guest today. He'll be giving the artist perspective. We'll be talking about just some of the things that folks often don't think about as it pertains to being an independent artist, but the ministry side of it too. We'll be talking about that today on the show. So make sure you let folks know. And again, tag your barber. I was talking a little trash up front. Okay, the Lord had to deal with me about my heart, all that bragging and boasting I did up top. But I did it. I apologize. There's a lot of bragging and boasting I did. But I'm talking about cutting hair. I don't know. So Darren Murphy, producer, one of the owners here at Freethinkers, he suggested that we do some type of clip off. That name just came to me. A clip off. I don't know if that's it. Something where barbers cut. We find a barber shop, we cut it. Maybe we could talk about some topics, and we cut some hair. We got to figure all the details out. I'm producing live on air, which you should not do. But let's just look for that in the near future. But in addition to all of that, I get a chance to welcome our brand new sponsor today to the Akintunde Show, aka the Grown Man Podcast. This is called Cutie Cakes, cupcakes in a bottle. This is dope. Now, the young lady who actually invented this is going to be our guest on the show in a couple of weeks. But I've had some of this. She mailed me some, and I baked some of these today. And when I tell you these are phenomenal, this right here, she tapped into something. This is a God idea. This is a blessing here. But it's cupcake in a bottle. You don't have to add water. You don't have to add eggs, flour, nothing. You just shake it, screw the cap off, and pour it and bake. Again, cutie cakes. Cupcakes in a bottle. Get fresh from the bakery taste right at home with all new cutie cakes. No need to measure, no need to mix. Just pour and bake. Fresh from the bakery taste right at home with cutie cakes. Cupcakes in a bottle available at select Kroger stores or log on to cutiecakes.cooking. That's cutiecakes.cooking and you can get yours right there. And if you don't see it in your local Kroger for whatever reason, you tell them you want some cutie cakes. Now, I'm just being transparent with you. She sent me 3 bottles. I have 2 left, and these 2 are going home with me. I'm just letting everybody know here. I'm not sharing this with anybody because I ate the key lime earlier, and that key lime pan, woo, Jesus, glory to God, excellent. And again, I'm going to have her on in a couple of weeks. This is going to be dope because she's going to share her testimony. Sister named Andrea Dumas, and she's going to share her testimony of how she created this. And how she got it to the marketplace. At the end of the day, this is on the stores and Kroger's, Coca-Cola stores, and soon to be in Publix. And she's going to share her testimony on how she got these on the shelves. At the end of the day, you can have a great idea, but if nobody knows about it, it does nobody any good. Again, I got the red velvet, and I've got the chocolate still left. I ate the key lime, not by myself, but I did polish off a whole bottle. I baked them. And when I tell you they're excellent, good. Cutie Cakes, our brand new sponsor here for the Akintunde Show. Also, another sponsor is the Assignment Agency. Have you ever wanted to book a national music artist, comedian, or speaker for your event? Well, the Assignment Agency has you covered. Call 1-800-280-0094. That's 1-800-280-0094. Or log on to theassignmentagency.com. Theassignmentagency.com. And get your artist, somebody who you look for. Maybe it's a pastor's anniversary. Maybe it's a youth function, whatever that is. Maybe it's a concert. Maybe you're a promoter. Maybe you are an event. Maybe you are a venue. Whatever. You call the Assignment Agency and they can help you out. JaleelMakesLogos.com. That's our other sponsor. $26 logo design. You need a logo for your business, ministry, organization, or personal brand. Log on to JaleelMakesLogos.com. JaleelMakesLogos.com. That's our sponsor today. Another one of our sponsors. All right. We got a great show today. Talking about being an independent artist. And let me tell you something. I get a lot of comments or questions on a lot of times on the road. And I figured let's do some shows around this about being an independent artist. And I can tell you this much right here. Before we get into the topic, again, I have two great guests today, Sean Bigby and Uncle G, aka Greg Lyons. Let anybody who you know that is an independent artist, they need to be listening to the show today, watching the show today. Please tell them to stop what they're doing and come over here and watch these two interviews that I'm going to have today with Uncle G and Sean Bigby. But here's one thing that you have to have if you are an independent artist. And this is something that people oftentimes forget when they think about just the talent side of it, when they think about just the gift itself. The question of it is, it's a big question. And it's a simple question, but it's a big question. If you're an independent artist, no matter what kind of artist you are, whether you're an actor, writer, comedian, musician, a singer, whatever that is, here's my question for you. It may seem simple, but it's a valid question. Do you have office hours? As an independent artist, do you have office hours? And I can tell you that if you don't have office hours, you probably are, if not experiencing the full breadth of what your ministry or your career could be. If you're not experiencing the full breadth, you could be totally not experiencing it at all because you don't treat it like it's a full serious ministry or full serious business. You have to have office hours. I know a lot of comedians who say they want to be full time, but they don't treat it like it's full time. When I'm saying office hours, I mean you have to get up and go somewhere, get up and start working, whether that's writing or whether that is marketing yourself, whether that is answering emails, whether that is calling out and reaching out to your representatives, whether that's a manager or agent or publicist. Whatever that is, there should be something that you do. Some of the comedians I see online who are very successful right now, a lot of people don't recognize these guys get up and go to work. One guy that cracks me up is a dude named Antoine Scott. He's got some videos called the Look At You videos. When I tell you these videos are hilarious, I look at them almost every day. Now, as a person who knows what it takes to put something together, I marvel and I know what he's doing. He's got to get up, he's got to find the videos that he wants to put together, and because he does a split screen joint. And he has to find the videos, then he has to determine what he wants to say. And sometimes I'm sure it's probably off the cuff, but sometimes I'm sure he got to really think this thing through about what he wants to say. And then before it gets to the marketplace or to social media and gets thousands of views. But those videos are hilarious. He used to be like, look at you. And he'd be like, Lester, call. I mean, the things are hilarious, funny. Shout out to my man Antoine Scott. He did our Search for the One stand-up comedy talent search years ago. But he's doing this thing, and now I'm seeing him do comedy tours and doing churches and comedy clubs. And I'm sure a lot of that is due to the fact that he's knocking out consistently those videos. Man, you got to get up and you got to hit it. Whatever that is for you, whatever type of artist you are, you got to get up and you got to hit that thing consistently on a daily. Oh, whatever your schedule is. I don't do the Grown Man Podcast every day, but I do it every week. There's a lot of preparation before we just walk in and go live on Facebook. Before we record a program and post it to iTunes and iHeartMedia. It's a lot that goes into it. You got to treat your comedy, music, acting, writing, whatever that is, painting, whatever that is, screenwriting, whatever that is. You gotta sow a seed before you reap the harvest. And you need to get up and go to work every single day. That's my tip. I'm gonna come right back. I'm gonna talk with Sean Bigby. I'm gonna talk with Uncle G, Greg Lyons. Tag your artists, your friends, anybody who you know wants to do this full time. Tell them we got a great show for them today. And let me tell you this one little thing right here. If you don't treat this like a business, don't expect to benefit from it like a business. You can't get a steady check from something that you don't give steady attention to. That you can't get consistent cash flow for something that you don't execute consistently. That's the business side of it. That's the business side of it. Stay right there, family. We got a whole lot of show coming up for you today. It's going to be good. It's going to be a blessing to you. Uncle G and Sean Bigby coming up next. This is the Akintunde Show, a.k.a. the Grown Man Podcast. Stay right there and tag your barbers. I ain't finished with y'all yet. Ak Show. You're inside the Akintunde Show, a.k.a. the Grown Man Podcast. We'll be right back.
The Akintunde Show is sponsored in part by Atomic Design. Set the stage for maximum effect for your next live event with Atomic Design. Whether live event production, set design, custom set construction, or modular rental scenery, Atomic Design is the company for you. Official set designer of my upcoming live comedy special, Akintunde Because I Said So. Learn more about the captivating capabilities of Atomic Design. Give them a call today at 717-626-4408 and tell them Akintunde told you to call. Atomic Design, atomicdesign.tv.
$26 logo designs. Need a logo like the ones here? Go to JaleelMakesLogos.com for yours today. JaleelMakesLogos.com. $26 logo designs. Need a logo like the ones here? Go to JaleelMakesLogos.com for yours today. JaleelMakesLogos.com.
Hey, what's up, family? The Akintunde Because I Said So Jokes and Music Tour has officially begun. Savannah, Georgia was lit. Moncks Corner was gas. Germany was spectacular. Hollywood, Florida was off the chain. The tour is rolling, and we just added some dates. For my full schedule, including speaking engagements, log on to my website.
The 2014 Dove Award Comedian of the Year.
It's the Akintunde Live Because I Said So Jokes and Music Tour coming to a city near you. And if it's not, do something about it. Give us a call at 1-800-280-0094. That's 1-800-280-0094. Or hit me on my website. That's akintunde.net. That's AKINTUNDE.net. Because I Said So Jokes and Music Tour coming to a city near you. I'ma see y'all when I see y'all. Peace.
We're back, y'all. Grown Man Podcast, aka the Akintunde Show. All right, so I told you we're gonna have this conversation. We're talking about being an independent artist, all right? And a lot of times, sometimes, here's one thing I hate. A lot of times online, what you might usually find on social media, you find people talking about stuff and they really ain't doing it. I always have a problem with that. They're giving you advice and they're not doing it. I'm like, dude, if you're gonna be telling me about something, you need to be doing it. Well, I got somebody on here today to have this conversation. You on the screen, you saw me take a swig of his drink. I don't know what he got in that drink. I'm sure it's non-alcoholic.
It is very non-alcoholic.
But he enjoyed it though.
Listen,
My brother, my friend, my dude, the dude who ministers to me every single week.
Come on.
Minister Sean Bigby. What's up, sir?
What's going on, my brother? You good?
Man, I'm good. How you doing?
Man, I'm yet holding on. Come on, somebody.
Come on now. Hold on. Before we go any further.
Huh?
Sean Bigby is now less than a month a married man.
I'm a married man.
Uh-oh.
Y'all got to get off me. Back when I was hot, they didn't want me. Now I'm married. They all on me. Huh? Yeah. I'm just playing. Listen. I'm enjoying married life. I'm loving it. I'm married now, so it's a blessing.
But you know that is true though. Like a lot of times, women will be coming at you.
Oh, that ring is attractive.
Yeah.
That ring is attractive, Doc. It's like the anointing. The anointing draws, and that ring draws them in. And they see that ring, they be like, "Oh, you're married. Hey, how you doing?" I'll be like, "Hey, don't try me. Don't try me, because my wife is low key kind of crazy. So I think I need to get killed.
Mine too, sir. Yeah. I think everybody need a good crazy woman.
You gotta have a good crazy woman. It'll keep you in check.
Yeah, they really do.
It keeps you right on in check.
It really do. A lot of people think
when you think you're gonna go to the left.
Come on now.
You get to thinking, and you be like, I hear her in my head saying, I can't say that word on here, but Negro, please. Negro, please.
Everybody need a sister who just might act a fool.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she do on a regular basis. I'm not saying she always showing out. I'm talking about just when she need to.
And see, when they got that act of fool in them, you don't know where the act of fool gonna come out.
Right.
And so that's the biggest problem. You sitting there thinking, we in church, be lifting our hands in worship. Next thing you know, she be like, yeah, I bet you didn't have your hands up and you was talking to something. You're like, really? Is this happening in here? Like we in worship together. Yeah. So
Hold on, let me ask you this, Sean. Have you got this one yet? Because this is something that happens after you get married. Women that you've been knowing for years, or who you was either cool with or just knew them. They said something like, I always liked you. Like, what are you talking about?
No, I ain't got that, and I don't need to ever get that. Cause let me tell you something. That ain't gonna go good at all. Cause that's an immediate. Oh, never mind. We got to go ahead and shut this down.
Right. Cut it. Oh yeah, cut it off.
Yeah, we got to go ahead and shut that down. Yeah, that can never be. Yeah.
But brother, congratulations on the nuptials.
God bless you.
And in your married life, got a beautiful wife, sir.
Yes, I do.
Congratulations.
Now that's been shocking to me. I think people thought I was gonna end up with somebody ugly, because everybody keep walking up and be like, "Your wife is so beautiful." I'd be like, "What did you think I was gonna bring home? Did you think I was gonna just be with somebody ugly?" I'm sorry. I've been waiting to get that out.
Sean, you stupid.
I've been waiting to get that out. I promise you, I'll just be like, so was I expecting, like, were y'all looking for me to bring home like a 3? My wife is a 10. Y'all expecting me to bring home like a 3. I praise God for you, because I was just thinking you was only gonna bring home like a 3 or 4. But you went on ahead and got you a 10. Praise the Lord.
10, brother.
Thank you, Jesus.
And we expected you to win, sir.
Yes, Lord.
Yeah.
Thank
Nothing
you,
but the
Jesus.
best.
Nothing but the best.
Man, but and speaking of nothing but the best, I want to have nothing but the best to have this conversation today, because let me tell you something, y'all. Being an independent artist, I see a lot of people who come to me after, like, okay, for example, I'm not gonna call his name. There's a brother every week that I see him. He says to me, "Brother Odd, when you gonna take me on the road with you? Brother Odd, when you gonna give me a record deal?" And I told him, I said, man, he's anointed too, he's gifted. I told him, I said, you know what? I said, come on the road and carry these bags.
Right.
Come on the road and work this table. Come on the road and serve. And one thing I can tell you about Sean Bigby is not a guy who moves just for money, although he makes it.
Thank you, Lord.
But he is not a guy who moves just for money. I know people, that's all they do is they move for money.
Right.
So let's talk about, really, Sean, let's talk about the heart of an independent artist, particularly on this side, and what's necessary.
Dude, I mean, when I tell you, first off, you talking about it right now, just having the heart of a servant, you got to understand, and we're talking about independent artists, we're talking about independent artists in the gospel field.
Yeah.
So you got to understand that what you're doing or what you're called to do is serve people.
Yeah, right.
Period.
Right.
And so before there was ever a check, before there was ever an honorarium, before there was all of these demands and all of this kind of stuff, I understood and I knew that the calling that was on my life was to serve people. And so, being able to get paid for it now is a great blessing and all of that, but I would still be doing this even without the check. And I still do this even without the check in a lot of situations.
You said something, you had a post up, I don't know how many months ago it was or weeks ago it was, but you said that you celebrated the anniversary, I guess, of you walking off your job. You were talking about the fact that there came a time when you knew, and I think it was, and I want to, you talk about your post, but something about purpose, and a check from purpose, and a check.
I said the first time that you get a check from purpose is one of the best feelings of your life.
Right.
And I meant that. I mean, I'll never forget the first time that I actually got a check from doing what I wanted to do, from doing what I was called to do, for what I was purposed to do. And it doesn't feel like work. It never feels like work after that point. And so, I've been doing full-time ministry now 7 years.
Okay.
7 years ago, I stepped off my job at AT&T, was making pretty decent money.
Okay.
And stepped away from my job. I felt like, it was the time, it was the season. I was actually reading Stephen Furtick's book, Sun Stand Still.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Talking about how Joshua prayed, an audacious prayer for the sun to stand still. And so I was like, okay, God, and I would go into work every day. God, thank you for full-time ministry. Thank you that I'm able to live off full-time ministry and all of this kind of stuff. And so God said, okay, you're believing me for it. Now what's your work with it?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, what do my work need to be? And it was like, you're on this job. You're believing me for full-time ministry, believing I'm going to take care of you. Step off the job. And I stepped off the job. I was leading worship a little bit at New Life. I had come into a relationship with Pastor John P. Key and started leading worship there just on Sundays. Gotcha. And I knew from the beginning that me quitting my job was going to be over half of a pay cut. Not half.
Wow.
Over half of a pay cut.
Wow.
But when I tell you God has rewarded me in such an amazing way, and I live a life of purpose. I live a life of faith.
Wow.
I live a life that I believe that God is pleased with. And it's a blessing. 7 years, I wouldn't trade not a day of it.
And you talking about purpose, you talking about stepping out on faith. You clearly, and I want to say this too, Sean Bigby is a guy who got options. because, and when I say options, I mean he had a career before he got into music. He had a career before he walked fully into what he was, what you've been called to do. Even you even play basketball. I
was a beast in the day. I wasn't a beast, but I was all right. I mean, I could have played. Now, could I have gone pro? No, I was probably never going to go.
How far did you go in terms of basketball?
I played all the way up until my JV year, and when I was in the 10th grade, going into the 11th grade, I was going to go on the varsity team, and I decided to graduate high school early. So I actually graduated high school as an 11th grader.
Get out!
Yeah, I graduated high school as an 11th grader, so I didn't want to focus on playing basketball, and I fell in love with music. By that point, I had fallen in love with music, and I was like, I'll never forget one practice. I actually skipped a practice to do the school's talent show because I wanted to sing. And so when I came back to the next practice, coach made me run for like at least an hour and had all the boys singing the song that I sang at the talent show. It was, but I loved singing. I fell in love with music, fell in love with singing, and that's when I kind of knew, this basketball thing probably not going to work out for me anyway.
And now I tell you what could have worked out for you. You could have been a full scholarship Division I football player.
See, now let me tell you something. Let me tell you about football.
This joke right here now that's somebody linebacker right there.
I'm big and praise God, but I just don't need people to think that I don't like heat like that. So I couldn't have played football. You got to wear too many clothes for all of that foolishness. Yeah, now, to every football player out there, God bless you. Hey, God bless you. But y'all start working out in like June, July, getting ready for the season. No, basketball, winter sport. Winter sport.
See, you saying it's a dude 5'7", 172, and he said, man, that joker did about 6'6". How tall you, Sean?
I'm 6'4".
6'4".
Every inch of it. Yeah. Every inch of it. Praise the Lord.
I'm telling you, but you had options. You made a decision to live and work for God. And let's so now here you are, songwriter, worship leader, the worship leader for Right Direction Church International right here in Columbia, South Carolina, my church.
My church too.
That's right. Amen. Glory to God. Amen. Amen. And now let's even talk about that, because I want to connect this thing for independent artists out there, because with the heart, and then I want to come into something else with the work ethic. Let's talk about that. You were leading worship at New Life, right? And that came to an end, okay? And then how did you talk about that time frame?
So life moves at the speed of relationships. That is a quote that I live by. I learned it from Israel Houghton, and it's something that I've tried to live my life by ever since learning it. And so when my season ended at New Life, didn't necessarily know what was going to happen, didn't know where I was going, didn't know how God was going to work things out. It's good to have a pastor. I went home to my pastor, my spiritual father, Pastor Kenneth A. Dean, Mount Zion Baptist Church, Belton, South Carolina. I went home the very first Sunday. Now here's crazy. I got to tell you a testimony about that in just a moment. But I went home on the very first Sunday after Easter, because the season had ended on that Monday. Went home that following Sunday, and my pastor said, if you're in the middle of if you're in the middle of transition right now, he said, don't freak out, don't get too scared about it. God's gonna move so quick, it's gonna blow your mind. So I'm sitting there crying, and I'm like, okay, I received that word, God, and I'm grabbing a hold of that word, God.
Wow.
And I just thank you for it. And then so on that Sunday, that's when that happened. On that Tuesday, J.J. Harrison gives me a call and says, hey, are you looking for a minister of music position? I was like, I just kind of got out of a situation. It's still fresh. I'm not even a week out yet.
Right.
Well, just now getting it to a week.
Right.
And he said, well, I know of a church in Columbia who's looking for a place. And he told me the name of the church. I'm looking for a minister of music. And told me the name of the church. And I was like, well, Darwin Hobbs is there. And I know Darwin.
Right.
And he was like, well, Darwin's moving. Darwin's getting ready to move back to Cincinnati with his family.
Right.
And so I said, okay, well, hey, I'll talk. I'll see what's going on.
Right.
So me and Pastor Bailey got on the phone. And we talked for about an hour.
Okay.
That same day, on that Tuesday.
Wow.
Talked to Darwin that night. Darwin called me that night and said, hey, man, this would be an amazing place. We love it. We just hate the city of Columbia. But we love, we want to raise our kid. We want to raise Bethany back at home.
Okay.
And I think this would be an amazing place for you.
Wow.
And so he said, come to rehearsal on Thursday. So on that Thursday, go to rehearsal. I teach a little song and stuff.
Okay.
Meet with Pastor Bailey and Dr. Marsha and with Michelle and with Darwin. And we have a conversation. I do the rehearsal. Pastor Bailey takes me out and he asked me, what's it going to take to get you here? So literally, we had all of this conversation all within almost 1 week.
Wow.
So no less than 14 days after transitioning from New Life, I was in a brand new situation with double everything.
Jesus!
And so, I mean, you can't tell me when you live a purpose-led, purpose-driven life that God won't do certain things for you. It was incredible.
Wow.
It was incredible. Now, here's the amazing thing.
Yes, sir.
So, all of that happened within that span, and so and God told me when I got there, He said, "You just walked in, and I just didn't know what was going on." I got nervous. I got nervous. Y'all see, ain't nothing behind me on my screen.
Right.
I'm waiting on stuff to come back behind me on my screen. Anyway, so God told me as soon as I got here, He said, Sean, you're in a different season now. You're in a season of establishing the man and not just the brand. And so I said, okay, God. And so I looked at how my travel schedule changed because now I'm the creative arts director over 3 campuses. So I got office hours and things of that nature.
Right.
I saw how my life was beginning to change and settle a little bit. And so we talked about me getting married. It wasn't until the other week when I got married on April the 6th. And that weekend, Pastor kind of gave us, the weekend off to be married. Praise God.
Yeah, amen. Amen.
Well, that Sunday morning, we went home. We went back to Anderson. We went up to Anderson, saw family, and went to my home church, and saw my pastor, my spiritual father, and all of that kind of stuff. Hung out with them all that day.
Right.
And I'm sitting there in church that morning, and God reminded me, and He said, Sean, look back over the amount of time it's been. And I said, okay. I look back, and it's been about 2 years. I've been here in Columbia in June, and it'll be officially 2 years.
Okay.
He said, it's been, but you were here, the last time you were here and you heard a word like this, a prophetic word, because Pastor Dean was prophesying again that morning.
Okay.
He said the last time you heard a prophetic word like this was literally 2 years ago, the very first Sunday after Easter. 2 years ago. Now here you are sitting here doubled. You literally doubled in every facet. Doubled financially, doubled as far as my life is concerned, and now I've got a wife.
Double.
And so he said, I promise you, I was establishing the man and not just the brand. And so I sat there nearly in tears, and I had to testify, and I was like, man, this is absolutely incredible, absolutely crazy to me what God has done in just these 2 years. So I'm excited about what's next. I don't know what's next, but I'm excited.
You know what? Of course, Sean released a single this year, You Saved Me, which is one of my favorite songs. It's on my phone right here. And I mess it up every time I sing it, but I sing it by myself. I enjoy myself singing. You know what I'm saying? I know it probably sounds.
I'm gonna get you the track.
Don't give me, boy. Let you work it out. Oh no, you forgot.
Oh, the track.
I downloaded when I downloaded the single. I got the track, player. But I listened to you singing it, and I know I'm messing up people around, but I enjoy myself with it. I enjoy myself. But it's a great song. Please download it. It's on iTunes. Available on iTunes right now.
Right now.
And but Sean, I've watched Sean, and what cannot be denied about Sean is he has a pure, awesome heart. See, real people have this way of drawing people to them, and you hear the same thing. I'll be someplace. And they be talking, yeah, Sean Bigby's there. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, someone everywhere.
And I hear the same thing about Akintunde, so that's crazy.
But I'm saying this, I'm trying to make a point here. The testimony that you've given us today, talk about the heart. And even if you had to make some adjustments over the years to get to this place where God is blessing you just rapidly in front of people. I mean, you're talking about double finances, still have great influence, have great opportunities, friends with some great people, ministering some great places, playing great and hitting big stages, and now you're married. But talk about their heart, because I think sometimes as artists, we sometimes focus so much on, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. But what about their heart?
Well, I mean, and when you talk about the heart, you can't talk about heart without talking about servitude. And servanthood. And so, I had the awesome, experience of being able to serve my pastor from home, my spiritual father, Pastor Dean, for a few years, and so, I learned servanthood there. I actually learned servanthood from my mom. and my great grandmama who served at my, at the church I grew up in, Salem Baptist Church, and I watched them serve on the missionary society or the missionary board or missionary whatever it is.
Right.
And I watched them sing on the gospel choir and the young adult choir and all of that kind of stuff. So I grew up knowing that church was something that was an integral part of my life, and that was going to be an integral part of my life. And so, singing at that early age and then being able to serve Pastor Dean and being able to serve my minister of music, Brandon Groves, being able to serve Pastor Key for 5.5 years. I served at New Life for 5.5 years.
Wow.
Still serving, and now serving Bishop Designate Herbert Bailey, and still serving, that is what gives me access, because I don't have a problem with submitting. And so when you have that kind of a heart, I said this the other day, and I hadn't worked it all the way through, and I hadn't worked it all the way out. I said, but one of the ways that God keeps pushing me higher is when I learn to push myself lower. And the Bible says that, he that humbleth himself under the mighty hand of God shall be exalted. And so you got to know, you got to understand that the way to get up is to get down and to get down lower. And every time you want to go higher, you got to literally push yourself lower.
Jesus.
And so when you get that understanding, when you start to understand that revelation, it's easy to put your heart in the right posture.
Right.
And the truth be told, we hear so much, when all it takes is a little bit of a stage, a little bit of platform, and people get in your ear, man, you're so dope and you phenomenal and all of this kind of stuff. And so that's why you got to be the one to check yourself and say, but there's still some people, because I got insecurities. I still have insecurities. There are some phenomenal people who are in ministry that I've served in ministry with, that I'm watching their careers do some amazing things. And if I'm not careful, I'll look at that and say, oh man, I wish that was me.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah,
because sometimes same thing. There's people like, and what I'm telling you, man, what you gotta do is, I don't know who I'm talking to out there, man. When you see that, you gotta judge that quick.
You gotta judge it quick and check it.
Check it.
Yeah, you gotta
because that thing will fester, and it'll become an issue for you when you see other people that are surpassing you, or looks like everything is breaking out for them, and you know the person. Man, you have to catch that thing quickly. And then, but so what do you do in that regard to make sure that that doesn't take over? One of
the things that I do is when I see somebody beginning to do extremely well, and I see that and I feel that little, like, oh man, that's a stage I wish I was on, or that's a place that I wish I was at, or something like that. I support them.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I take my platform and I say, hey, everybody who's following me, y'all need to go and grab such and such's record.
Yeah.
Y'all need to go and get that. I'm so proud of da-da-da-da. I'm so proud of this one.
Yeah.
I so appreciate this one in their life and their ministry, all of that kind of stuff. And I try to push them as hard as I can push them. Yeah. It doesn't always give me give people to push me back.
Right.
And that's cool.
Right.
But I push them as hard as I can to deal with my own insecurity, to say, I'm not going to be one of those ones that can't push nobody and can't help nobody else out. That's not going to be my testimony.
Man, I've seen this over the years in myself, whereas it's a constant process of renewing your mind, and I'm talking about me now. And you renewing your mind in a particular area. Like when your kids come up and you talk about other comedians, I'm like, daddy. Like not too long ago, my daughter went to a concert. I didn't want to go, but because it was a lot of cursing in the concert. She went to the concert, and I'm like, yo, God doggone daddy. I'm about to sold out tomorrow too.
Don't I do this? I do this too, right?
Right. Like, go online and check the ticket sale.
Right.
But you have to get your mind right, because at the end of the day, and I think that's about what I really think it's about, is when God really desires to use you, every little thing, every little wrinkle, he irons it out.
He irons it out.
He presses out. And I remember Tasha Cobb. I remember sitting backstage in, I think it was like Miami, Florida. And we were at a ministry function. It was like a pastor's appreciation or something like that. And she was just as humble and just as sweet as she wanted to be. And then she went out there and we all was like, whoa.
Right.
Gosh. And then about 2 years later, boom.
She's blown up.
I reminded her that at the Stella Awards. She was like, I remember that. She went to talking about it. And I said, that wasn't that long ago.
Wow.
Now, Good Morning America, Today's Show, and all these other major platforms.
You just never know when the hand of God is going to do something for you or take you to a place that you could have never gotten yourself to. And so that's why it's so important that you constantly check yourself and that you're constantly saying, okay, that's in me and that's not right. Because all the stage does is expose what's in you. Them lights listen, when I tell you them lights, I'm a big wrestling fan. I'm a huge WWE fan. And so when high definition first came out, you could tell them hits wasn't going all the way to the person.
Yeah.
Because it was high definition television.
Wow.
It exposed the fakeness that was actually going on wrestling.
Wow.
And so I remember reading an article that was talking about Vince McMahon was telling all the boys that they're gonna have to do something different. They're gonna have to find different camera angles. They're gonna have to get in closer with their punches and things of that nature to be able to sell it to the TV audience, because they can tell now that it don't look like you hitting that person. It's the same, right? It's the same thing now with the lights, camera, action that we have, even in ministry. The stage, the platform only exposes the stuff in you that's off,
and it's multiple platforms now, because social media will expose you,
right?
Come on now. TV will expose you. Radio will expose you. Your podcast, whatever those things are, you like, wait a minute.
And see, what's crazy about the social media thing is not only do I have to be careful about what I post because of my own ministry, but now I'm the creative arts director of the church.
Yeah.
So what I post will also affect Right Direction.
Yeah.
And so I got to be real careful, and I have to always remain cognizant that anything that I post, it don't just affect Big B Music and Ministry and whether I'm booked or whatever, but then that's a bad look on my church and what I'm serving. And so I have to keep all of those things in mind when I'm living life and doing what it is I want to do and wanting to expose everything that I want to expose on social media. Well, maybe I need to just be quiet and chill out.
You something you do and you're consistent with it, and that tells your heart, is you always give honor to your spiritual father. And even though you're serving and primarily being fed at another church, but you always give honor to your spiritual father. Talk about that, the value of faithfulness in the life of an artist.
Well, listen, again, if you're an artist and you don't have a church that you connected to, you off. The Bible talks about people who wander around without fathers and calls them bastards. Right. And so I'm not cussing. I'm just telling what the Bible says. Right. And so you have to have a spiritual father. You have to have a pastor. Right. You have to have somebody who can pull your coattails, who can hold you accountable, who can check you and say, you're going left, bro. You need to come on back. And so, I'm appreciative of Pastor Kenneth Dean. I love him. Mama Dean, Mercedes Dean. They are family to me. I spend just as much time with them now as I did when I was living in Anderson. It's so funny, and I don't hardly ever get to go to the church. But it's nothing for me on a Sunday afternoon to go and have Sunday dinner with them and just hang out, and we don't have to talk anything spiritual. Just hang out at the house, and that's my family. I love them, and so when he released me to go and do ministry or whatever, he understood that he was releasing me to go and do the ministry that God's called me to do. But he also understood, and he also knows that if he ever needs me, I'm back. It is what it is. That's who I. And one of the great things that I appreciate about Bishop Bailey is he understands that. He understands that. And so when I told him that, in our initial conversation, I told him, I said, well, I have a home church. That's my pastor, all of that kind of stuff. And he said, Sean, I can appreciate that because a lot of the young guys don't even understand that element. They aren't submitted to anybody. And so they don't have that element of submission to a pastor. And so just like I would submit with Pastor Dean, I submit to Bishop Bailey. He knows where I'm going. He knows if I got dates or whatever I take. And that's been a new thing for me. That's been something that I've had to get adjusted to or whatever, because I didn't fully understand. I grew up Baptist, so in the Baptist church, you just talked about pastors. You didn't talk about a spiritual father. The pastors didn't know. I got these kids over here. These are all the kids I got. Praise the Lord. So, so now understanding that, I have a spiritual father, but then I have a pastor, who I serve and all of that and stuff. And so, I submit to him just like I would if I was back at home with Pastor Dean. That is my covering. That's who I received the word from. That's who I sow into. That's who I tithe. I tithe here at this church. And so, having that understanding, having that knowledge, having that revelation causes my life to be even the more connected. And it gives me someone to hold me accountable. And it gives me someone who's a little bit wiser than I am, that I can take some things to and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What's your thoughts? How you feel? What do you sense or what are you getting?
It's amazing you say that because I did in several situations where I've been offered other opportunities and it just wasn't the right situation. And I talked to my pastor, Dr. Bailey, about it, Bishop Bailey, and it really helped me clarity. And some of those situations, I look back on, I was like,
right, exactly.
Oh. Now what if I've been like, hey, pastor, hey, time's up.
Right.
Deuces.
I'm deuces. I'm gone. I'm gonna do it.
I remember it's a major thing I turned down. Now I'm so glad I turned that down.
Wow.
I'm talking about, ooh, I'm glad I turned it down.
Wow.
And so literally your submission and your faithfulness and consistency is a protection. Right. It's a defense.
It's a defense.
God will protect you from certain things. I think this conversation is going perfectly where it needs to be. And my producer just told me I got 3 minutes left.
He just, I thought he was taking me a bird, but he had 3 fingers. Okay, cool. That's good.
That was 3 fingers.
That was 3 fingers. One for the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
But it's perfect. I got Uncle G coming up in just a little bit. Uncle G, Greg Lyons, Uncle G manager. Labor owner, one of the hardest working dudes, and who get his artists, keep them working and drive them up the charts. But I think this is perfectly broken up. I had a different plan for the conversation, but I think the conversation went exactly where it needed to be.
Praise the Lord.
Sean, help somebody right now before I let you go. Help somebody, help some young artists, man. Because again, here you are, songwriter. Here you are, worship, praise and worship leader, and creative arts director at a mega church. Here you are, married, newly married.
Thank you, Lord. Great
reputation in the industry, travel, dates all over the place. Help somebody who's saying, "Man, I wish I could be what that dude there is. Man, I wish I could have that. Man, I want to do that. I want to do what he doing. I want to be full time in ministry. I want to come off my job." Help that person out, man.
The thing that I would say to you, young man, young woman, whoever you are, old man, old woman, whoever, make sure first off that it's the purpose of God for your life.
Yeah,
that's what you're wanting. Somebody, a friend of mine, Paris Bowens, pastor. He's a pastor now, Pastor Paris Bowens. He said, everything that inspires you doesn't mean, every time something inspires you doesn't mean that you need to go and do that thing that inspired you.
Yeah.
And he broke it down like this. He said, an apple tree, even though it gives off apples, may be inspired or may be caused to grow by fertilizer, which means that the fertilizer that gave it energy, gave it strength, gave it inspiration, if you will, it doesn't grow fertilizer. You have to go and take fertilizer and put on the apple tree for the apple tree to grow, and it gives off apples.
Right.
So whatever your purpose is, whatever that is,
Jesus.
Just because somebody is inspiring, just because somebody is doing something that you think you might want or that looks kind of cool or whatever, and you think, well, I can do that, or wouldn't mind doing that.
Right.
Make sure that it's the purpose of God for your life.
Right.
And if it is the purpose of God for your life, then put your faith with it. Submit yourself, humble yourself, submit yourself to some of the leadership, humble yourself, get a mentor, get somebody who can train you. Don't be involved, don't worry about the check, don't worry about the honorarium. All of that kind of stuff will come.
Yeah.
But make sure that if God has told you to do it, just keep doing what you're doing. I'm always reminded of the story of David. David was anointed the king.
That's right.
Anointed to be the king as a kid.
That's right.
He was anointed to be the king as a kid. And then the Bible says that David went back and started tending the sheep.
Yeah.
He was found tending sheep, anointed to be the king, but he doesn't immediately go and become king.
Right.
He goes back to tending the sheep. If you got a calling on your life, if you're supposed to be doing something in life, and God finds you tending sheep, working at AT&T like me, whatever the case may be, he may have found you there. Keep doing that until God causes the door to open or gives you the platform to be able to do what it is that God's called you to do.
Somebody who's been told you're going to be a great artist, you need to keep singing background.
Right. Keep on singing in the background.
Somebody who's been told, man, you that's a #1 hit. You need to keep singing at your church.
Keep on singing it. Quit quitting everything.
Yeah.
Get some stick-to-itness to you.
Ooh.
Get some stick-to-itness.
That right there is that stick-to-itiveness.
Stick to it. Yeah, consistency is the key to breakthrough.
Yeah.
And so if they told you that what you have is a hit, but it ain't a hit yet, then you got to keep working until it's a hit.
Yeah.
Amen. Quitting your job after that first record.
Wow.
Because it's so easy to put out a record now. You have people trying to quit their jobs and go on the road.
Yeah.
No. I love the story of J.J. Hairston. Man, J.J. didn't quit his job until the last, 3 years.
Wow.
J.J.'s been out there working, grinding and stuff for years and years and years. And J.J. said, man, I got a wife and kids.
Yeah.
I can't just go quitting my job.
Wow.
I got to be able to pay bills. Amen.
Amen.
And he was getting honorariums and stuff, and had number ones. Had hits, had number ones and stuff. Was not able to step off his job until recent years. And so you got to keep doing what you're doing until you can't do it no more.
Brother, keep doing what you're doing, sir.
God bless your heart.
Thank you, sir. I love you.
Thank you. Love you too, man.
All right. Y'all stay right there. I got Uncle G, Greg Lyons, coming back up. He manages some of the greats and particularly a lot of great up-and-coming artists. Stay right there, family. This is the Akintunde Show, a.k.a. the Grown Man Podcast, right here on the Freethinkers Radio Network. Ak Show.
Dogs go to the doctor now. Black people dogs go to the doctor now. This is a new phenomenon. Oh. White people, my Hispanic, Latino people, y'all been taking y'all dog to the doctors for years. This is new for black folks. Back in the day, black dogs knew not to get sick. Black dog be talking to another black dog. I don't know what you got, player, but you need to get rid of that. And you about to be dead around here, understand? That dog across the street going to the doctor. You going in the backyard, player. I know what I'm talking about. Shake that.
Man, we back. Grown Man Podcast, independent artists. We talking to about 4 independent artists today, man. Look, I got a guy who I truly, really, really respect. And his background, I'll let him tell you more about his background, but I'll tell you when I met this brother. Sunday's Best finalist, Alexis Spike, was on the road touring her single. My man Big Red was on the track with her. And I met this brother right here as they were doing their promotional tour. And when I tell you, I gained a lot of respect for this brother because Uncle G is one of those artists, managers, label heads, promoters who gets out there old school Barry Gordy style and works with the artists. And I really respect it. And as I watch him working, I'm watching the single rise on the chart. And then I'm watching his schedule. I'm watching the single rise. I'm like, wow, a lot of people don't get this. And I wanted to have him on the show today to talk about, me and Sean Bigby cover one side of it, but me and Uncle G gonna cover another side of it for the artists out there. He is the president and CEO of Uncle G Promotions and Entertainment. And his name is Greg Lyons. We all call him Uncle G. Alexis Spike, Isabella Davis, Zebion Ellis, Darlene McCall. He's working her record right now. And they got a brand new group called Red Hands. Welcome to the show, Uncle G. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm great, man. How you feeling? I'm so humbled to be on your show.
Oh no, I'm glad that you would accept the invitation. You're on the road right now in New Orleans at the Jazz Festival. Tell us about that real quick.
Oh man, this is Jazz Festival been going on for a long time. It's an international festival.
Yeah.
It's big names like Sting, Maze, Frankie Beverly, Aretha Franklin. I mean Anita Baker. Some of the top names from every genre. And we were blessed to have this year. I have Isabel Davis, New Artist of the Year, Stellar Award winner, Fresh New Artist of the Year, Stellar Award winner Isabel Davis. I have her in the gospel tent this year. So I'm very excited about that. She goes on tomorrow.
I saw Isabel at the Stellar Awards. She performed at the radio ceremony for the Stellar Awards, and then I saw her accept her award and then perform on the big stage, and then now she is top 20 artist. How does that feel? Because that's normal for you.
Well, it feels great, and actually this is the second single that's of the debut album, The Call.
Okay.
That's going top 20. The first single, The Call, actually peaked at number 11. The album debuted at number 3, and on the Gospel Billboard indicator charts, it actually was top 10. It peaked at number 9.
Yeah.
So very excited about it to have a brand new artist, first project out the gate to get a Stellar Award, and then have 2 singles now on the top 20 in Billboard.
Wow. Now, Uncle G, I want to get into this, and I want to, because I know we have a lot of young artists watching, a lot of new artists, a lot of even signed artists, and I'm sure even some ones who may be a little further down the road and feel like they may not be where they want to be. One thing I like about you is They ain't no fluff with you. And that really blesses me, because a lot of times people walk around, they got a little half of success, and they walk around, there's a lot of pomp and circumstance, and they trip out, and they name dropping, and it's like, oh, dude, you take your head out the room because it's taking up too much space. But you got the results, and you talk about that, the business side of it. How did you get to the point where you truly understood the business side of it, where you know how to put a record out and how to have that record chart top 5, top 10, top 3, and then promote it and see it really go? How do you, talk about how did you got to that point where you actually knew how to do that?
Well, it's nothing that you could actually go to school for, basically. It all starts with, I have to feel the record first and foremost.
Okay.
And I also have to feel the artist. You know, I have to feel the artist's passion. But the main thing is the record has to do something for me, because, you know, I could use the money. I could take a record, and, you know, first of all, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't like to do the radio track inside of it. I know how to do it. I've had success in doing it. But I tell people all the time, I don't like to do it because it takes up so much of your time. Yeah. It's like you have to live it. And that's why it's so important to really feel the record yourself, because if you're not feeling the record yourself, it's hard to really push the record. So that's first and foremost. But the grind and the push came from, you know, I started off with my nephew, Master P, from No Limit Records. So I learned the business basically from the ground up. You know, I started off just driving. I was a driver for a couple of years, and then every time we went on the road, I just found something else new that I learned how to do. Wow. And, you know, each trip, I just see something else that was lacking over here. Nobody wanted to do it, so I learned that, and I'll do that. And after about, you know, a year and a half, 2 years, I looked up, and I was, you know, general manager of the label, and I was managing P and Romeo. Wow. But I had learned, like, different aspects of the business, because, you know, it started off with a whole bunch of people. Then I learned how to do this, and then this person would drop off, and that person would drop off, and it looked up, and it was like everything was in my lap. But I learned from grassroots, and that's why I tell people, you learn by doing. You can read books on it. You can go to school for different aspects of the music business, but until you get out here and bump your head a couple of times and have hands on, you won't know it. So I applied that same the grassroots that he had, because, you know, he started off selling out the trunk of his car. Right. So I applied the same grind and the drive that he had doing it on the hip hop side to the gospel side. You said something. That's why you always see me out on the road.
But you said something that's key, and I think, and I hope I don't offend nobody here, particularly on my gospel side, because I came from secular too. There's a grind that you get a lot of times when you come from the secular side, when you come from hip hop. I think it's understood in hip hop and R&B. Let's talk about hip hop, that you got to get out there and go get it. Whereas it's no other way. You don't have a choice. You've got to. They're not going to come looking for you. You have to go out there, especially if you're new. And I have a passion for newer artists, because I like to teach along the way. As long as you have a teachable spirit. You know, sometimes when you get people that's out there, and even some new artists, they watch and they emulate in this day and age of social media. They watch and they emulate, and they feel, I just want to be popular. Well, you can be popular, but you're still broke. You know what I mean? So I'm about, you know, I'm all about the popularity and all about, you know, pushing you and getting you out there, but you have to work, because if there's not any income coming in, you can't withstand being out there on the road just promotion. If everything is going out and nothing is coming in, that's not going to last too long. So you have to have the drive, you have to have the determination, but the main thing when you're new, you have to get out on the road, to shake hands, take pictures, smile, you know, meet these program directors so they have a feel for you, you have a feel for them. And all of that is important. You got to get out there. You got to get out there. Now, a lot of people, I know I'm hearing, a lot of people say, I want to get on the road, but I just don't know how, or I can't, or I try and I just can't get booked. How do you, as much as you want to share, how do you go about getting your artists, even new artists, on the road? Because I'm going to tell you, I remember Alexis Spite, how I met you guys, like, I'm sure you remember, y'all came and did our first Sundays event. But y'all had like
I remember
an event that morning and an event in the afternoon, and then y'all did our event that night. How do you get artists on the road when some artists can't get booked?
Well, first of all, I try I try to map out, and I suggest that people try to map out something regional.
Okay.
Especially when you're first starting off, because you want to do it as economical as possible.
Right.
But you start off and you try to get some base points and some base markets. But the main thing is once you get into the market, especially if you're blessed to get in, I still do it after the promotional stuff. I still use the same concept on the paid date.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I get a paid date for a Friday, let's say for instance you fly me to Columbia,
right,
and I come and do a paid date on a Friday,
right,
I'm going to try to stay over Saturday and find whatever else is going on in that market, whatever it is.
Right, that's right.
If it's related to what my artist could be on, I'm going to do that. And then Sunday morning, I'm going to look for a church service,
right,
to do that, even if I have to go in my pocket on Saturday night to pay for my hotels, because after I'm done with your event, you only flying me in and taking care of my lodging for one night.
Right.
So what I try to do is find something in that area, with it, even if it's in a 1 or 2 hour radius.
Yeah.
I'll get a rental car and I'll drive to that spot. I'll do that, and then I'll try to find a Sunday morning, because I always book my flights for a Sunday evening to leave out in the market. Like even if you book something for me from 2 months from now,
right,
and you say, okay, my event is on a Friday, I have my travel agent book me to come in early.
I think we
maximize the time being in that market. I'll do that morning. I'll do your event, satisfy you for that Friday, and then I'll look for something in that surrounding area that's going on that's, that maybe not even advertised on. I just did that this past weekend with Isabel. Just did a women's empowerment thing, a fundraiser for a women's homeless shelter.
Right.
And just, found out that the event was there, called the promoter, say, hey, I don't need anything but a product table. You don't have to pay me. I just want to come to promote. And, that turned out very well, because, a lot of times the people welcome you because you're not really looking for anything. But to me, as much as you can while you're in the market, maximize your exposure, because I could easily kick back, but that's not who I am. I could easily just sit in a hotel and wait till your event. After your event is over, get back on the plane and come back home to my family. I love being with my family, but if I'm going to be out on the road, we're going to work. It's not a vacation. We're going to work. So you try to find as many opportunities in that market, especially when you're on somebody else's dime. Yeah. Especially when you're on somebody else's dime. Now, when you're on your own dime, you don't have a choice. You better be out there trying to catch everything that's going on that you could get on. That's right. That's why you'll see me do an event in the morning. You'll see me do an event that afternoon, one that night. Right. I might do 3 church services on a Sunday. That's right. At 2 or 3 different locations, and just get on the plane and come back home. But at least you made your presence felt in that market. And from that, if you're doing good business and the artist is doing what they're supposed to do, so the next time around, now you have, in Columbia, I know I could call this church. Right. I know I could call Akintunde and say, hey, I'm in your market. Can you recommend what's going on in that market? And you build a relationship. So the next time you come around, it's easier because you've already done some events there. And as long as you're doing good business, your name proceeds there. So people be like, oh, yeah, you're more than welcome. Come on by. So that's what I do. You said something key, and I'm going to come back to, I want to ask you something else first. You said something key. You said when the artist is doing what they're supposed to do. I'm going to come back to that. What you're talking about, that weekend, we talk about jumping around, doing multiple things. What do you say to that artist who because I've been on the road with that person who said, I don't want to do all that. They feel like I'm supposed to be getting carte blanche service everywhere I go. I'm supposed to be on a tour bus. I'm supposed to be everybody that everywhere we go, I'm supposed to get my full honorarium rate. And if they don't have my full honorarium rate, I'm not going, because I believe God didn't call me out here to be out here struggling. And if it's too much work, I don't know if that's God. What do you say to that person who I've been on the road with, who I want to choke? Talk to him, Uncle G, because I need to hear from somebody besides just Akintunde. Well, I think that person is living in a fantasy world. Like those days are over. If you want to survive in this gospel music industry, you've got to get out here and work. And another thing I say to that person isn't for me. I'm not going to even knock that. If that's how you feel, that's fine. And if you're able to feed your family by sitting at home, waiting on those 1 or 2 phone calls to ring for somebody to do everything that you're looking for them to do, that's fine. But me and I don't knock that. I don't knock that. You know, maybe some people can do that. But me on the other hand, I get out here and I shake the bushes. I need an artist that's hungry, that got to keep up. You got to be able to keep up with me. But once I see I'm pulling you, well, then that's not going to be good for me because I can only pull you so far.
Yeah.
I'm not being arrogant or anything, but I feel I made a name for myself in the industry. Right. It's not like I have to prove anything to anybody, but if you want to work and we're going to work together, I'm working to get you at the top of the charts. I'm working to get you to the point to where you think you at already, what you just described. Somebody said, I want this and I want that. Right. But if you knew that's not going to happen until you establish yourself. And in order to establish yourself, you have to meet as many people as you possibly can.
Now, you said something key. You said when the artist does what they're supposed to do, when you're on the road, what does that look like? Because I think a lot of people don't recognize why they are not working or why they don't get residual work. What does that mean when an artist is doing what they're supposed to do?
Well, if you're first starting out, the first thing you have to understand is you're not established. So you have to go the extra yard. There's going to be some times when most of the time when you'll be doing most of the stuff is promotional. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Most of the stuff that you're doing is promotional. So you have to put that in your mind that it's going to be sometime that you may be out on the road for a week or two, but when you go home, you may not have money. You might even have less money than you had before you left home. But long as you're impacting that area, long as you're impacting that community to where you left a lasting impression on it, they'll call you back. Yeah. And, you know, that's my thing. I believe in repeat business, just like when we came to your event. Right. You know, when we came to your event, the people that you had in your audience, those people called back. Wow. For paid event. Wow. But even though you paid us, you know what I'm saying? Right, but there were people in your audience that I gave my business card to that said, hey, man, you know, I liked her. What are you doing in another 2 months? Right. When can you come back? Right. You know what I'm saying? So you have to put that in your mind and know it may be promotional today because what I try to instill in my artists, you never know who's in the room. You never know. Never. You never know who's in the room. Right. And that one person, maybe you just went there and sometimes it might only be 30 people in the room. That's right. But maybe that one person might wander in, you know, that you never knew or never thought, you know, maybe the quietest one might be sitting in the back, but that one person could change your life. Change your life. So you have to approach it when I say do what you're supposed to do, long as you treat the situation, whether it's 2 people or 200,000 people, long as you're doing what you're doing in your ministry and do it the same way every time, the law of averages, as long as you keep being in front of people, it's going to turn around. Right. You're going to get in front of somebody that's going to be able to bless you. It might not be that night, but they'll call you back. Right, right. You're so right, because I've seen it so many times. Somebody that was just at an event, a lot of times it's what I call a pickup date, something that wasn't even planned. You did something, that person called you back, and that person booked you for this event, and then that event, 3-4 people see you there, and then those 3 people, you wind up going back to those 3 people for different events, wonderful ministry that you didn't even know about year after year, and it winds up being decade-long relationships based on 2 or 3 connections from that situation, but you didn't even know it. And I want to talk about something else you mentioned. You said, so Uncle G, what do you look for in an artist? Because I mean, there's a lot of great people who can sing. There's a lot of people who may be pretty or handsome. But what do you look for in an artist? And there's a lot of people that are anointed. But what do you look for to make you say, yeah, I need to work with that guy, that young lady right there. I can work with them and take them someplace. Well, like I said, the main thing is their product has to do something to me. Okay. And again, not being arrogant, but I never really go looking. It's like God sends me assignments. He sends the people for me. Jesus. Even in the case of Isabel, the way Isabel came about was did the video for the call, and the video had gone viral. And the guy that Vesta White that does internship for me, he saw the video and he said, Uncle G, man, this video, you need to see this video. So I said, okay, send it to me. So he sent the video to me. feel the power of God's presence through the video. And that did something to me. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, if you know how to get in touch with them, reach out to them, let them see what they're talking about. And he did. Now, the funny part about it is, come to find out that Isabel's husband, uncle, and I went to high school together.
Okay.
And he had told them about me years prior, but they never acted on it because the husband said that he didn't think that they were ready yet. They weren't at that point yet.
Okay.
But that was a situation to where, they called and when we did talk, we talked, and it went on back and forth for about 5 or 6 months because Slim from Cash Money had seen the video as well. Okay. And had reached out to them. Okay. And was talking to them. So he was calling me, the husband was calling me, asking me stuff. And I knew, from my experience, I knew you really asking me questions that you need to go back and talk, trying to get stuff from me to go back, but I didn't mind sharing it with him. Right. But it wasn't like he was questioning me during the time for me to manage him. Gotcha. He was just asking me certain questions to go back to counter what they were saying. So this went on for about 5 or 6 months. So finally, I didn't hear from him for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then he finally called back and said, Uncle G, man, send the paperwork over. We just ready to sign. Wow. But that was something that God sent me. I didn't go look in the same way with my new group, I'll tell you, Red Hand. Right. He found me on the internet and he sent me the video. And theirs isn't as much as the call did, as far as the vibe and you feel the presence of God. It was the vibe of their music. They were different. It's a band. Okay. It's a 6-piece band, and they're singing, and their vibe is like a groovy vibe. And I was like, oh, this is different. So that I knew it was a different sound. It was going to be hard, but it was a challenge. But I was up for the challenge. Like that piqued my interest. Right. That this is kind of nobody else is doing this. I like it. I vibe to the song. Right. Let's see what it'll do. And it worked out. It worked out. Now, but again, that's somebody that found me.
Now but you're talking about, you seem to know what to do with artists who also don't fit into the regular gospel box. Isabel does, of course, but Alexis really wasn't necessarily in the traditional gospel box, and it sounds like Red Hands are not as well. So what do you say to a lot of new artists? Because the industry's changing. CDs don't sell like they used to. You make more digital money now. So what do you say to somebody who may be different and who also may be coming into this game now that where you're not going to necessarily move 1 million CDs day one or 250,000 CDs day one? What do you say to the new artists to be able to adapt to this new industry?
That, first of all, just like what you said, it's not going to happen overnight. So you have to prepare yourself mentally as well as physically that it's going to be a grind. That especially if you have a style, don't try to emulate someone else. If you have a rare style, that's fine. Yeah. So like I said, if we can work together, I try to tailor-make a situation or a campaign built on that person's strengths. And then you have to find out what their target audience is. Right. Find that target audience, and then that's what we go after. We go after that. If it's more, if you're more contemporary, you kind of out the box. Well, I know some traditional churches that I normally will go to the last go around, my last campaign. I know that's not going to work over there. So now we have to find some other venues. We might have to find some comedy shows. Right. We might have to find some club. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's doing spoken word. We might have to crack that more than just try to church route. And even at radio, I guess that's part of my strength. Is I know how to do radio. Like I said before, I don't like to do radio, but I know how to do radio. So as long as I can get you played in the market, well, then I'm gonna find somewhere in that market that's listening to that radio station. They're going to want you there. It's up to me to try to find where that place is. And it might not be the traditional church, but we'll just find an event, in that area that you can go. And like I said, it may be promotional. So if you're willing to do that, if you have the money, we have to get out the market. Some people, if I really feel them, I'll invest my own money and my time to get them out there. But that's where it goes back to what I said in the very beginning. I have to feel it. It has to be doing something for me to really invest my money and my time in. I have to really feel that this is going to work, and I have to feel that you are up to the task of working and can't have the attitude that you just talked about before. Someone that's saying, oh, I want to break through. I know I can sing, because as you know, and I know, and I know you know,
yes, sir.
You in more places than me. It's great singers all over this country.
Yes, sir.
It's great singers that'll sing some of these artists that's on the radio under the table.
That's right.
But they're not trying to make a living off of singing. There's some singing, with my travels, I get to go to church. Like I said, sometimes I'm in 3 different churches in the market per Sunday.
Yeah.
And there's some people that just lead praise and worship in those markets that can sing, but all they want to do is just serve their community locally, sing for the church, go home, get their clothes ironed for work Monday, put some greens on the stove, eat, and call it a day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to sing, because this is the difference too that you know.
Right.
It's different being able to sing in your local community, and that's all you do.
Mm-hmm.
And you getting whether you volunteering or you getting paid on a salary from the church.
Right.
And it's a big difference from doing that as opposed to having to sing to pay your bills.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You said a mouthful,
you know
there,
what I'm
sir.
saying?
You said a mouthful.
It's totally different.
It is.
It's totally different.
And you, speaking of which, you got a song right now that's out by one of my best friends, my sister I love, Miss Darlene McCoy. And and I mean, when I heard the song, it's got a groove to it.
Even me, yeah.
Yeah, even me. A beautiful song. And of course, Darlene has a very recognizable, so her voice has a sweet texture to it. So if you know her and you hear, you like, that's Darlene right there. Talk about that record, because that record is climbing the charts right now, doing very well. And of course, I hear it in the markets where I am, but when I'm on the road, I've heard it as well. Talk about that record.
Yeah, that record right now is number 12. It's risen on the charts in a short period of time. I'm very excited about that. Now, the first time I heard the song was I want to say it was Isabel on Darlene's show.
Okay.
And she played the rough draft of the song.
Wow.
And I was like, as soon as I heard the song, I was like, oh, wow, man, you took me back to my drinking days. I feel like I need to go to happy hour and, get the happy hour before they do the cover charge, I said, that was the feel that I had. I said, but, you took me back, but I'm like, man, I feel like I'm in the club about to order me a rum and coke, but it had a good groove and a good vibe to it. I'm like, this will work. Like, I think you're onto something. There's not many of them out there like that.
That's right.
The groove gets you, but the message is there.
It's there.
You know what I'm saying?
Clearly.
So I said, I think we can do something with it. And even with Darlene, it wasn't a thing that she called me. She just let me hear it because I was in the studio. She was excited to have it. She let me play it. But when she called me to actually say, Uncle G, man, I want you to work this record, I was humbled by that.
Wow.
Because, we know that she has a nationally syndicated show. It's
That's right.
hundreds of people that she could have called to do what I do, to say, hey, I want you to work this record. I'm able to jump for the opportunity. But when she called me, I was like, oh, you got to be kidding. She was like, no, but watch your grind and I see what you do with the artists, and I know the people that work and don't work. I'm in the business from the radio side.
That's right.
But I see the results that you get, and I see how hard you go for your artists.
Yeah.
So I want you to work my record. And I was humbled by that.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm excited for it. And see, this is the other thing, and I just shared this. I was talking to my wife. What I like about Darlene, and this goes back to when we first started the conversation. What I like about Darlene, she can easily sit back knowing that I'm already an accomplished syndicated radio show
That's
host.
right.
I'm in X amount of markets every night.
That's right.
For 4 hours.
That's right.
I could sit back and I could be good with that. My record is still doing well on the charts. I could be good with that.
Right.
But Darlene, just recently, and I want to say it was in Columbia, just recently I had Darlene an opportunity to be on the morning news. She got up 3 o'clock in the morning, drove down to Columbia, did the news, morning news. She did maybe a 3-minute interview, sung the song, then went to the radio station, did an interview there with Tony G. Did the interview there, got back in the car and drove back to Atlanta and did a shift.
Jesus.
Like it was nothing.
But
this is an accomplished artist.
Right.
But was hungry like a new artist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The same thing. An opportunity popped up for Dr. Bobby Jones in Nashville.
Yeah.
This one was even bigger to me than the radio station one. That was great, but she had some days to plan for that.
Mm-hmm.
The one in Nashville for Dr. Bobby Jones Presents, they called, the slot opened up. She said, "Okay, Uncle G, I want to come," but she was moving that weekend.
Okay.
So that Sunday was on the Sunday. I was there with three other of my artists. Darlene called that Sunday morning and said, "Uncle G, this weather's bad. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm afraid to drive in the weather. You think it'll be a big deal?" I said, "Well, Darlene, they'll have to understand.
Right.
You know, I don't even want you out as a female driving 4 hours, you know, going up and down those hills in the bad weather."
Right.
And she said, "Let me see if I can find somebody to go with me." So about an hour and a half passed. Darlene called me back and said, "Uncle G, I'm coming. I found somebody to ride with me."
Jesus.
Came, and I guarantee you, Darlene wrecked the event, the TV taping.
Right.
Did some ad-lib after the TV taping. She wasn't in Nashville all of 45 minutes. Got back in her car and drove back to Atlanta 4 hours. An 8 hour turnaround day. And we talking about an established artist.
Yeah.
So when I'm working with people that's just starting and you telling me, "I don't feel like doing this, I don't think I need to do that,"
right,
I really don't have time for that. So I take my hat off to her, and people like her.
You bless a lot.
Those are my kind of people.
You bless a lot of people because you're talking about, again, just kind of reiterating in background singing on what you just said there. You're talking about an artist who is, and I don't know how many markets Darlene's in, nationally syndicated. She got a good job with insurance and a steady check and influence in that position, but she's willing also to put that additional work in, go that extra mile, and to take those opportunities. Because I'm telling you, to any new artists out there listening to this, I cannot tell you how much complaining I've heard over the years from people who don't want to get up and do radio in the morning, or people who want to get up and do TV in the morning. I'm like, man.
Oh man,
dude,
don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Come on downstairs and eat this breakfast, and let's go to this doggone radio station and shut up complaining.
But see, this is the thing. A lot of artists these days, especially the new artists, they think it's all about I can sing. And they think all of this is, and it's interesting. It goes back to what I was telling you a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's a difference between singing in your local church, in your local community, and having to sing to pay your bills, to sing for a living. You know what I'm saying? Right. So when you're out here singing for a living, it's more to it than just going to the event and singing. Right. You have to promote yourself. Right. You have to make yourself available to do radio, because one thing, like from working with Master P, with my nephew P, was he taught me the value of interviews, radio interviews. That's free advertising. That's free marketing. Right. That's stuff that you hear. That stuff that you hear other commercials being run. People are paying for those Hertz rental car commercials.
That's right.
People are paying for. They got an event. You know, they paying for spots to advertise the event. Right. So when you're able to go to a radio station for an interview, that's an opportunity for you for free to market everything that you do, everything that you have going on for free. Right. You know, you can tell people how to book you. People that may not be coming to the event where you're going. That's right. You can tell them information on how to get in touch with you. And especially nowadays, to where the social media and the internet is people listening to you from Germany. Yeah. In that same little station that you don't feel like going to go do the interview at. Yeah. It's people all over the world that's listening to these radio stations. So you don't want to pass up those opportunities. You can't afford to. You can't afford to. We're out of time, Uncle G, but I want to say, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to close out and promote anything you want to promote. But again, nowadays we live in an area of a lot of social media artists are exploding. And I tell people a lot of time, I say, listen to me. You got to be careful, because social media is very important, extremely important today. And you can build a career off social media, but you also got to match that social media with the old school grind. Because if you're not careful, having a lot of followers can be like empty calories. You got a whole lot, you eat a whole lot, but it's not necessarily benefiting you. I know a lot of people who got a lot of followers, they can't sell a ticket or they can't sell an album. So talk, if you could talk to like some of the independent artists who come up with who may be in the social media era, help them out with understanding how to balance that with the old school grind. Well, first and foremost, I tell you, just because you have a lot of followers and you get a lot of likes on your posts, if they're not hitting the buy button, those likes mean nothing. If they're not purchasing, you could have 200,000 people that's hitting the like,
right.
but if they're not hitting purchase, they're not really supporting you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
right.
don't get fooled by the following if it's not translating into dollars and cents.
Right.
You know, that's good to have your fan base built like that and people hinging on every time you post something. That's good.
Right.
But if they're not hitting the purchase button, that's just like you said, that's empty calories. So you have to get out there. And then I just read something the other day that really hit home to me. Somebody said, let me see if I can phrase it right. Don't confuse movement with progress. Just because you see somebody moving around, don't necessarily mean that it's progress, because they could be still running in place.
Yeah.
They could be moving, but they're running in place. They're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
So don't confuse that. You know, long as you're getting in and getting out there and you building the fan base and you building the network and you're being called, to go do dates, do people right. Don't try to do one hit. Don't think that, just like you said, the artist that's feeling, I just want to get my number. I know it. I'm not going to leave my house if I don't get that number.
Right.
Don't do that. Do good business with people.
Right.
And as long as you're doing good business with people, you'll get repeat business with people. I'd rather have volume people. I'd rather have volume business where we can all eat, because, see, this is the thing, and this goes back to the secular side.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned from being out on the road, promoting and being on the one side, being a promoter myself. Even though I don't like the promoter side, I'd rather be on the artist side.
Right.
I don't like waiting until people walk up, to sell them tickets that'll give me ulcers and all that. I don't like all that.
Right.
But one thing I have realized is you have to respect the promoter.
Yeah.
You don't want the promoter to lose money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just so that you get your payday.
Right.
You wanna make it to where everybody can eat, because I'm a firm believer if we all eat, our healthy portions, we might not have the same amount on our plate as the next person. But long as we all eating healthy portions, we can continue to eat together.
That's
and
right.
Nobody's hungry.
That's
but
right.
if you're trying to eat all of the meal and you're not leaving anything for anybody else, but then nobody's going to call you back, and then you're leaving it bad for the next person that's coming along, because now the promoter has taken the L.
That's right.
And some of these people, it takes you 7 and 8 months to recover from one date that took a big L on.
That's right.
So you never want to leave the promoter to where they don't have room from the beginning to make money. Right. So when you make all of these pleas and all these demands on, I gotta have 6 people traveling. Yeah. Everybody have their own room. I need an SUV. I need $75 per diem per day. It's got to be a 5. Don't do that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't do that. Leave room for the person that's bringing you in to, take care of your accommodations. Right. Make certain that you're comfortable. Make certain that you're eating, you're riding, and riding nice and comfortable. Right. But right. Make certain that they at least, if nothing else, break even. Right. So that way they can try it again. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. You don't want them to, after you leave and you got your money, and they're in the whole $5,000 or $6,000. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Especially spending it on stuff that you didn't even need. That's for another day. Yeah. For another day, get me back on, and I can tell you some of the horror stories of some of these artists that's asking